Imagine this, you are looking at hundreds of stocks, and as traders you want to take a trade in the stocks that fit all your criteria. Now these criteria could be an RSI, a Bollinger Band, an MACD, whatever, all these different technical indicators. But you notice that the only option to actually check for all of these different technical indicators or criterias or price criterias and so on is to actually build a Tradetron strategy and then deploy that strategy on paper trade and then run it as a filter through the paper trade deployment. Well, this is a very long process, right? What if there was a simpler way? Well, you're in luck because in today's video, I'm going to talk about this new feature that we've launched called the screener. We are going to understand more about the screener. How do you build different screeners? How do you build the different lists for the screeners? And then how do you run a screener live during market? So be with me and watch this video till the end. Like, comment, and subscribe. There we go. Like you can see, I have logged into my Tradetron account and I'm on my dashboard. And on my dashboard, I have this page called the Market Watch. Now, in this Market Watch, I can basically add different stocks to my Market Watch, which I can keep an eye on that I want to trade. Now in this Market Watch, I can basically choose to add different stocks, remove stocks from here, and so on. Now, with that, I can also add multiple such market watches because the limitation of each market watch is basically 20 scripts. So if I want to add a new market watch, I basically come to add new and I add my market watch list name. So I select, let's say, Huzafa test, save it, and now I can add different stocks to this list. So let's say if I want to add an HDFC Bank, I basically select this thing and it will add my HDFC Bank to this list. Similarly, I can add different futures as well. So let's say if I select a futures of Nifty, I can basically just search for a Nifty futures and I can have this in my market watch out here. Now with that, with the market watch, I can also have my list that I have already created in my Tradetron account in my create strategy page out here. So all the different lists that I have created for myself, either the existing list of Tradetron or the list that I have created, can all be imported into this market watch as well. And from that, I can see all the different stocks that are basically in this list out here. So I can see all, when I select the Nifty 50 list, I can see all the Nifty 50 stocks in my list out here. And I can see them updating the price as per the last traded price that is there out here. Now, this new feature that we've introduced is basically the screener. So the screener will basically help you to build certain screens, right? Now these screens can be of pretty much anything. So in order to create a new screener, we basically come here and we can select any screener out here. Now, if you don't have a screener already, this will basically be blank and you just come to this button out here, condition builder, and you come to screeners out here. Now in the screener, you will basically have to name your screener something. So I will name this, let's say, my RSI screener, and I will give it a value. And in this value, this basically opens the familiar condition builder that we have on Tradetron. Now from here, I can basically choose to add multiple conditions. Those who don't know about these conditions, we have certain courses and we have certain free courses where we basically teach you about building your strategies using these condition builders. So for now, let's understand that each of these condition lines that you see are like an if statement. So if the price is more than, let's say, 1000 rupees, then this condition will be true, and so on. Now in here, I can choose to add different technical indicators of mine. So like we know, for any technical indicator, the first keyword we use is position, and in position we basically choose our technical indicator. So let's say my screen criteria is that the RSI has to be, let's say, greater than 60, right? As an example. So again, we can choose to have different things out here, but I want that the RSI on the 5-minute candle of all of these Nifty 50 stocks, I want to screen only if my RSI on the 5-minute candle is basically more than 60. So I will come here. So I will basically select my exchange out here. So my exchange is NSE because I want to check my conditions on all the Nifty 50 stocks, and I will select Nifty 50 out here. So I will get my list of Nifty 50 stocks up here. Now, when I select my Nifty 50 stocks, I have now imported the keyword of RSI is out here successfully. Now I will basically check my condition that RSI is basically more than, and I will select number, and I will add my condition as, let's say, 60. So now what this does is that this will basically check that all out of all my stocks, the stocks in which RSI is more than 60 will basically get screened out. Now with that, I can also choose to add multiple conditions. So let's say along with this RSI is greater than 60, I also want to see that the price of the stock is basically more than 1000 rupees, right? So I can just choose to have another condition as LTP, and in my LTP condition, I will have my instrument name as my keyword, and in here I will select my exchange as NSE because I want to trade in stocks, and I will select my instrument as Nifty 50, and I get my Nifty 50 stock list. So now my Nifty 50 price has to be more than, and I will select number, and in here I'll select something like 1000. So now after doing this, I have basically built a screen which will do my job of checking if RSI is more than 60 and the price is more than 100. Now similarly, I can have multiple groups out here. So I could have one group saying looking at all my RSI conditions, one group looking at all my super trend conditions, one group looking at all the other conditions, and so on. So as per my usage, I can have multiple groups, and I can keep all of these group as an OR condition. More about that in future videos, if you do end up liking this video. Now once I do this, I can basically save the screener. So you can see that my screener has basically been saved, and now what I can do is that from all my Nifty 50 stocks that I'm seeing out here, I can basically run a screen in this particular condition which I have just built as RSI. Now I basically import my RSI condition and I trigger and apply out here. And when I trigger and apply, it will basically run a screen in all these stocks, and I will get a list of only the stocks which I have run as the screen right now. I'll get the list only of the stocks where the RSI is basically more than 60 and the price is basically more than 1000 rupees. So with this feature, I am able to look at multiple different stocks in a list, and from those stocks I can filter out certain stocks that I want based on my criteria and get a list of all these stocks. And now from these stocks, I could either open the charts for these stocks where I'm able to see what is the price and what are the candles and so on of, let's say, Adani Enterprise. And now if I want from here, I can basically take a trade manually with my broker and so on. So this is broadly the concept that we've created. With that, I can also create multiple screens and run it on different stocks. So for example, let's say if I want to run this on something like all stocks of Nifty 50 futures and option stocks. So I can see that I have another list out here which has quite some stocks, and from the stocks I can again choose to run my condition and so on. The best part about the screener is that the list that I select out here, it could be any list, and this list doesn't really have to match the list that I am selecting in my screener in my conditions out here. So for example, you can see that in my conditions I am choosing my Nifty 50 as the instrument name out here, right? So Nifty 50 list is basically the instrument that I'm choosing. But at the same time, in here, in my market watch list that I'm checking out here, I'm basically looking at Nifty 50 future stocks. And when I do this, when I basically run this condition, it will basically apply on the list that I am looking at basically out here in the Nifty 50 future stock list and so on. Now with that, we should remember that when we are selecting the instrument, we should select the Nifty 50 list and not the Nifty 50 spot index instrument. With that, once our screen has happened, we will basically trigger a reset. And once we trigger a reset, we can run this on another screen. So like RSI is one screen. Similarly, I can have another screen on, let's say, a different set of conditions and so on. So this way I can make a copy of pretty much all my conditions that I'm building in my Tradetron strategy, and I can run this as a screen whenever I like to just check if the conditions that I have checked, in how many stocks is it coming through, and based on that I can trigger my trades additionally and so on. I hope this video on the screener helped you, and if you did, do drop a like, comment and subscribe to this channel, and see you in the next video. Goodbye.